This is a short presentation about language. But why is language important? Language identifies us as human beings. It is present in nearly every aspect of our lives. We use it to socialize, to express feelings, emotions and needs. We use it to explain our inner self and the outer world, and we also need language to understand it. In fact, what I'm doing right now is using the very same language I'm trying to talk about. We could go on talking about language for a long time, but I'd like to draw our attention to some of Chomsky's ideas about it, and to Vivian Evans' explanation of such statements as being myths, because they are not the result of findings of fact and analyses based on them. The first myth I would like to talk about is Chomsky's affirmation that language is innate. According to Noah Chomsky, human beings are born with a special kind of knowledge, a knowledge that would be a universal grammar that all humans are born with, and which is hardwired in the human brain. On the other hand, Vivian Evans considers that the emergence of language was a gradual process. It is now thought that Neanderthals probably had some speech capacity, which they would have used for the cooperation needed to function as organized groups. The sophisticated stone tools they made can be some evidence of cooperative work, for which they would have needed some form of communication. A second myth is that language is a distinct module in the mind. Chomsky adheres to the idea that the mind is a computer and that there should be a specific region of the brain, specialized just for language. There would be a language processor encapsulated in the brain. Nevertheless, Vivian Evans explains that recent findings suggest that there isn't any dedicated organ in the brain. If there existed a universal grammar hardwired in our neurons, it should be passed on through our genes. But that is not possible because our DNA does not have the coding power to do so. To write something as detailed and specific in a child's brain, a huge amount of resources would be used. Our DNA just does not have such capacity. A third myth proposed by Chomsky is that there is a universal mentalese. Every language derives, ultimately, from a universal language of thought. Mentalese. Mentalese is the mind's internal or private language, and all human beings are born with it. At some level, all languages must be the same, and there should be a set of absolute grammatical universals common to every one of them. Nevertheless, Vivian Evans explains that languages vary hugely in terms of the number of distinct sounds they use and the word order used for subject, verb and object. Some languages feature other grammatical categories and some languages don't need to be spoken at all, cause they function perfectly without sound. As we have seen very briefly, language is object of study. There are people, like Noah Chomsky, who have devoted time and effort to studying language and have arrived to some conclusions which he claimed to be true. Further study and research has found new evidence which suggests that those claims could be wrong. Chomsky's language as instinct theory has been replaced by the language as use theory, which seems to be a lot more credible and, at the same time, more useful as a theory of language for the purpose of teaching English as a second language. In order to acquire language, human infants must be exposed to a lot of it before they can speak. Children get language gradually, in quite a piecemeal way. We seem to construct our language by spotting patterns in the linguistic behavior we encounter, not by applying built-in rules. Over time, children slowly figure out how to apply various categories they encounter. As a natural consequence, a second language acquisition should follow the same logics. It's not automatic, but the result of a long-time process which is full of rights and wrongs that will help learners expand their knowledge and capacities.